Hi everybody, thank you for participating in the Love and Courage class. It was intended to be a fundraiser, and unfortunately the registration was very poor for this class. So I do thank you, the very small few of you that did participate in this class. It means a lot to me, so thank you for that. We're going to make some cards, and then I have an extra bonus project for you. And unfortunately Stampin' Up! Was holding all of our orders in Canada, whether we shipped via Canada Post or not. So that really delayed things in getting stuff out, and all my supplies and the stamp sets and all the things. So a little bit frustrating, but nonetheless, that's what we have to deal with sometimes, and it's the way of our world, right? So anyway, let's get started and we will get to the projects. All right, so let's start with, so all of these cards I've used Bubble Bath or Pretty in Pink. So this card, excuse me, is going to have, oh gosh, I didn't get it out. It's going to have a few pieces to it. Okay, so this one is going to have a piece of Bubble Bath, which is just your standard cardstock. You're going to have a piece of white. You're going to have, I think actually you have two pieces of white of this one. I don't for mine. So I'll cut myself a piece. You have a piece of Bubble Bath with one score line across the top. You have a piece of white that will lay on top here. You're going to have a piece of Bubble Bath, smaller rectangle, and a smaller white. And then I have very small pieces of Bubble Bath and basic white. So throughout this class, I am using the Sunflower embossing folder because it ties in so well with the stamp set. This is the stamp set that you receive. So the Sunflower does tie in super nice with this one. You do not have to have this embossing folder, okay? You can use whatever embossing folder you have. It does not need to be this specific one. Okay, so let's get started. So Bubble Bath and Pretty in Pink are the two colors I'm using. If you don't have those, you can just use black. That's fine. Any shade of pink will work. If you want to use a different color, you're more than welcome to. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to score my card base. So this is going to be my card base. And then what I want to do is I want to actually take my piece here that has the score line, and I'm going to fold on that score line. I'm going to crease it. And what I want to do is I want to actually place this flush with the top. So this piece here is going to go here on the front. It's not going to go inside. You can put it inside. It just won't look finished. So I like to put mine on the outside of the card. I'm going to use tear and tape. You can use whatever product you have that you want to use. You can use liquid glue if you prefer. I like to use tear and tape for anything that's going to be a moving type of a card. I just find that it sticks a little bit better. And if people are going to be moving my card a lot, I wanted to make sure it's not going to fall apart on me. So I'm using tear and tape. And I'm going to line this up centered, top or centered side to side. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually emboss this one of your two white pieces. And again, I'm going to emboss mine with the Sunflower embossing folder. And this is going to actually go right here on the front of our card. Okay, so it's going on the inside of the flap. So we've adhered the flap. Now we're going to emboss this white piece, and then we're going to adhere that over it. And you can see by doing it this way, it actually makes your card look a little bit more finished, right? So go ahead and emboss this one of the white pieces. The other piece will be for your inside. So go ahead and emboss this white piece here with whichever embossing folder you prefer. All right, so now once you've embossed this, like I said, we can go ahead and we can adhere this to the front of our card. As this. Okay, now what I also want to do is the larger white piece. I could have told you this earlier, but is you're going to emboss this one as well. So I'm going to use the sunflower embossing folder again. You can use whichever one you want. So you're doing your large white and your larger of the two rectangles, or sorry, yes, I guess rectangles, pieces with the embossing. Okay, so this next embossed piece is going to go on the front of our flap. So you can see how pretty this is coming together. Okay, so we're just going to adhere that there. Now, what I want to do is my my smaller piece of bubble bath, I'm going to actually adhere it here on the inside of the flap. Now, this piece is bigger, so you just really want to make sure this is centered, but you want to make sure that it doesn't peekaboo underneath of this one, right? So try to center it, but also keeping in mind you don't want to show underneath. And it should be okay because I've cut it smaller on purpose. Okay. Now, before we finish the card, your other white piece that you have, your larger white piece, will be your inside. I don't have one for my card. But what you're going to do is I'm going to leave all of the whichever stamp I'm using out of the kit, you do, or to the stamp set, you do not have to use the same one as what I am using, okay? So if I'm using one that you don't care for, obviously it's your card, go ahead and switch it up to whatever you think. So what I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to take my Bubble Bath ink pad and I'm going to use the "Thank you for supporting me through my battle." And I'm going to do this in Bubble Bath ink. Again, you don't have to use Bubble Bath ink. You can use whichever color you have that you like. Does not have to be exactly like mine. And I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to stamp that straight down. Okay. And then I want a small block because what I want to do is I want to take this heart and I want to stamp the heart just kind of on an angle like that. Okay. Now, my bubble bath is not really a bubble bath color anymore. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this piece to the inside. Okay. Like this. And then what I want to do is I want to take, I'm going to use the word hope, but you can use whichever stamp you would like. And I'm going to place that here. So I like to use my glass mat to line things up. So hope. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to use it on my small white piece. Oh, I need my bubble bath ink again. Okay. And it's, the word hope is bigger than the piece of paper, and that's okay. I just want to, so I'm going to stamp mine closer to the right because I want to flag this. Now, if you don't want to flag yours, that's fine. Again, your card, do what you want with it. Okay. So now I cannot remember if when I cut these, if I cut them so they will layer. No, I did not. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm going to layer this. So I'm going to flag this and then I'm going to layer it. Okay. So I'm going to put, oh, sorry, I'm going this way. I'm going to glue this down, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flag this after I have it glued down. I just kind of like to do that just because I think sometimes it's almost easier to make the flag. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in my paper snips, and then I'll come in on a diagonal. And then this way, what this allows me to do is kind of make those angles a little bit better. Okay, and then this is just going to come on the front of my card as such. Now, I did let somebody borrow my Bubble Bath ink pad, and it does not look Bubble Bath anymore. So I'm not sure what happened, but mine is looking more like Pretty in Pink, which is very, very unfortunate. Okay, so this is your first card, and then it will also open this way for your message. So it's like a double flap card. Okay. All right, so that's card number 1. Put this one over here. Now, card number 2 is another fun fold. It is also Bubble Bath. And this one is going to have a lot of pieces again. Your base, you're going to have 2 pieces of white. You're going to have a piece of Bubble Bath and a piece of white, and then a strip of Bubble Bath. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to emboss one piece of my white. The other piece will go on the inside. And that's all the embossing we're doing on this card. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue this down on the front of our card like we normally would. So that's just the same as any other card. Actually, before we do that, hang on, missed a step. What we want to do is this piece here is actually going to hold this piece. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to line this up with a little bit of space here, and then I'm going to fold this. Now, you can score this if you want. I just like to fold mine, and I fold it around the whole card just to make it a little bit easier. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up with the end of my card as such. So this is going to go on the front of my card. I'm centering it top to bottom. Okay, I'm going to open up that flap. Then I'm going to put my white piece on top. Now, the reason I did it that way is so that you can hide the flap. So it looks, again, we want a finished looking card. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this piece of Bubble Bath, and we're going to center it. So I want to actually put my glue here. Now, you can use tear and tape here. For simplicity's sake, right this second, I'm just going to use multi-purpose glue. We're going to push on that. And the reason I'm putting it on this is so that we don't accidentally glue the whole thing down, because that's how our brains are wired, right? All right, then I'm going to take my large sunflower stamp, and I'm going to stamp this in Bubble Bath on the smaller white piece, because it's going to layer on top of here. And I'm just going to do this on the center. Now, this may not fit completely, so I want to make sure I get the words. It's okay if my leaves kind of go off the page. Like that. Actually, it does fit. So now I'm going to take my adhesive, and we are going to attach this to the front of this card. It's really unfortunate my Bubble Bath does not look like Bubble Bath. It's looking a lot more like Pretty in Pink right now. And then we are going to just adhere this piece to the inside of our card. And if you want to decorate this, go ahead. You want to do your envelopes, go ahead. Okay. For sake of time, I am not. Okay, so we're going to open this, and then we open this. Okay. Now, I just want to, yeah. I wanted to make sure that's how my original card was as well. Okay. So it's just kind of a fun thing. Now, you could probably put a piece of white here, and second layer this if you wanted. I just didn't do that because I didn't actually think of it, to be quite honest. So that is your second card. Okay. Okay, now moving right along. Your third card is one that is in Pretty in Pink. So I think the next couple cards are Pretty in Pink cards. So I think we are safe to put away our Bubble Bath ink pad if that's what you're using. Just going to clean mine just so I don't mix my colors. Sometimes that happens. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my Pretty in Pink ink pad. And I'm going to fold my card base. Okay. Now this one I'm going to build a little bit differently. I'm going to start on the front on this one. And this one's, it's a pretty simple stamping part because honestly, I think you know how to stamp. So use your creative license here and do what you need to for your cards to decorate them. You can always do way nicer things than I do sometimes. So I'm using my Pretty in Pink ink pad. Again, if you don't have that, use whatever color you have. And I'm going to actually stamp this somewhat closer to the top of my page, like not to the very top and not to the very bottom, just because I want to actually use this as well. Thank you for supporting me through my battle. I'm going to stamp this here. And then I'm going to use thank you for supporting me through my battle. And, you know, I was talking to somebody and they mentioned, you know, the stamp set actually could be used for other things besides cancer. Because it's not, you know, it's a couple things like friends don't let friends fight cancer alone. Yes. But the rest of it really can be used for multi-purpose things. So, yeah. So I'm going to put this here. Okay, now I'm going to open up my card. Now here's the really interesting part that we need to do first before we do anything. I need you to put your white piece on the inside of your card first before we do anything else. And you'll understand why in just a minute. So this is just a plain Jane card. Nothing too bougie about this one. Okay, now you have this pretty in pink piece and it has 3 score lines. So what I want to do is I want to fold on these score lines on all 3 of them. Okay, like such. So I've got my 3 score lines. Now what I want you to do is I want you to fold in these 2 little flaps. Okay. And we're going to line this up so the middle score line matches up with the middle of this card. Okay, so it's going to go like this. Essentially, it's what's going to happen with our flaps tucked under. Now, if you have tear and tape or something similar, go ahead and use it. Okay, so now I'm just going to push this down. Push this one down because that's what we do with tear and tape. Then we take our little take your pick tool and we pull that back. And then we take this take your pick tool and we pull it back. Okay, and I'm going to do this again. So I'm just going to line this up in the center top and bottom. Okay, now what I want to do here, and again, you don't have to do this part if you don't want to. You want to do something different, go for it. I'm going to emboss these two pieces. And I'm going to use the sunflower embossing folder to do this, okay? And then these are going to actually just go right on here. So let's go ahead and glue those down. Like this. And then like this. Now, when we close up our card, it creates this little box for us. So again, if you want to decorate this piece instead, you can. You just want to keep in mind when you're doing this, this card is going to be bulky. Okay, so you really have to make sure your crease marks are bang on. Just pushing down. And this one will be thicker to mail as well. Okay, so then there's your next card. All right, moving right along. Your next card is again a pretty in pink. There's lots of cards in this set, so lots of cutting, lots of patience. Okay, so this one is a card base and it has a score line in the middle. Score line in half and one to the left. When I close this, I'm going to crease this. And I'm going to actually crease this into the center of my card. Okay. Normally we'd fold it back, but we're going to fold this one forward. Now, this white piece is going to go to the inside of your card. So we're going to go ahead and adhere this to the inside. Just like we normally would. So this is not anything unique or different. Now, what I do want to do here is I want to take maybe some Stampin' Dimensions if you have them. If you don't, that's fine. And I'm going to just place 3 of these on my card. Okay. Now I'm going to actually line this up with my white cardstock. Oh, actually I wanted to stamp on that first. Okay, well mine's not going to be stamped, but yours you can stamp with the ribbon. I might try to do it now that it's glued down, but it might be a bit of a challenge. We'll just see how it turns out. I meant to do that before I glued. Okay, so I'm just going to randomly stamp the ribbon. So this is pink on pink. I'm just going back and forth. Okay. And you could use the hearts if you chose. Whatever, you can actually add the hearts into if you want. I'm actually going to take this block. I'm going to maybe put some hearts on these. Just so it's not all ribbons. Okay, now I'm going to open this up so I can do this. So now what I want to do is I'm going to randomly stamp the ribbon and the hearts all over the front of this card. And I'm going to go different directions. There's not going to be any rhyme or reason to what I'm doing or anything like that. Although if you follow me, you know that I don't do random very well or at all for that matter. So I will try my best to give you a random pattern. Now I'm going to warn you or advise you, we're going to cover some of this up. Okay, so don't worry too much about doing too much here. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm only going to glue half of this onto my card. Okay. Just using half. And I'm going to place it there. Oops, I want to make sure that dries. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for a second. So while that is doing its thing and drying, so I'm going to do that for a minute. I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab the stamp set that or the stamp that says, "Friends don't let friends fight cancer alone." Actually, I'm going to use this. Okay, and I'm going to actually just place this in the center of my white cardstock. Now, if you would like, you can actually sponge the edges of this, or you can actually just take your ink pad and your paper and just kind of lightly tint the edges. And it just kind of breaks up the white a little bit. Okay. Now, I could put the heart here if I wanted. Okay. So now when I go to glue this, I'm going to actually glue this whole thing. Let's go this way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tip this so this flap here will tuck into the side of my piece that's on the inside. Okay, so it's just kind of a fun way to fold your card. All right, that is your next card. All right, one more. Let's go. This one's a fun fold as well. They're all fun folds. So this was a lot of work to cut and prep and get ready. So there's a lot of cutting that goes into classes that I don't know sometimes people understand how much work it is to prep things. It just doesn't happen, right? So, okay, so here is my card base. So this is a Pretty in Pink card base. This one has 2 big pieces in it. Okay, so there's my Pretty in Pink card base. And then I have another one that's a little bit smaller and it has 2 score lines. And so what I want to do with this one is I want to fold this one up. And you're probably thinking, well, this is cut kind of short. And then I want this one to come down. So essentially we're creating kind of like a Z fold type of a card. Okay, now I'm going to glue this onto the front. So again, if you want me to do that again, so I'm folding it in half and then I'm folding this down. Okay, I'm going to adhere this to the front of my card with my flaps to the bottom. I mean, I suppose you could do it to the top if you wanted. Okay. So let's let that dry. While this is drying, what I want to do is I have some white pieces here that we need to deal with. So you have 2 pieces of larger white. One is going to be for your inside, and one is going to be for this piece here. Now, you're going to know, because if you just noticed when I did this, this piece is way too big. So that's going to go on the inside of my card. So that's actually going to go in there. This one, which is a little bit smaller, is going to go here. But I'm going to emboss this, okay? Then I have another piece here that's a smaller rectangle, and it's going to go here. And I'm going to emboss this piece as well. So these 2 pieces are going to get embossed. This piece here is your scrap piece of paper that we're going to do a little bit of fussy cutting. And this we're going to do some stamping, and you may want to trim this down. I'll leave it up to you. So let's go do our embossing. So again, I'm going to use a sunflower embossing folder. You use what you want. And we're going to emboss these 2 white pieces. All right, here we go. So now that I have this embossed, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down to the front. Go ahead and glue this down here. The embossing folder just ties in the sunflowers in the stamp set so well. It just really coordinate well. And then I'm going to put this one here. Okay, so I have those two done. Now what I want to do is I want to take my, let me glue this white piece on the inside next, because it's gonna cause me a little bit of grief otherwise. So I do like to design the cards so they're not just simple cards. But unfortunately, when I do that, the length of time it takes to prep things is longer. It uses more cardstock, just takes time. Okay, so now that we have that, so this larger piece of white, what I want to do with this is I'm going to bring in my sunflower embossing or stamp again. And this one's so versatile, I just love it. And I'm going to I'm going to center this in the center, stamp this in the center of my white cardstock. Okay, now if you have a circle die, you can go ahead and cut this out. Okay, if you don't, you can fussy cut nice and close here. Okay, I'm going to leave that up to you how you want to do this. I'm going to use a circle to start with because I do not have a straight enough hand to cut around here. Okay. We're going to fussy cut these out. I'll show you in just a minute, but this is the part that I need you to make sure that you are cutting somewhat, accurately, I guess. I don't know. So if you have a circle die, go ahead and cut that now. Okay, so I have die cut mine. Now what we want to do is I want to kind of cut up in here. And I'm going to actually just kind of trim, like kind of come into the petals. So I really want to make these more defined. By cutting them out. And this gives it a really super cool look. And it's not really that hard because we're just kind of following the lines. Okay. Like this. So I know this part's a little bit boring, so go ahead and fast forward past me. Well, I do this part. I'm almost done here. Okay. So maybe you're doing this along with me. Maybe you're not. Okay. Now. There we go. Okay. So now that I have that cut, what I want to do is I'm going to bring in my card. Get these pieces out of there. And I'm going to place this so that when I close this, these petals will catch, and it kind of holds it closed is what I'm aiming for here. Okay, so I like to do this with some dimensionals just to kind of help. So if you actually place the leaves where you want them and you peel off the backing, you'll end up with it right where you want it to land. Okay, so if I pull this back, let me just move some stuff out of the way here. Peel these off. And then see how that will hold that kind of in place now. Okay. Now, again, if we're creasing our paper well, then that helps as well. Now, this piece here, you can stamp whatever you want. I'm going to do Friends Don't Let Friends Fight Cancer alone. But, I mean, again, you use whichever one you want. I'm going to stamp mine closer to the bottom because I'm going to trim this down. I gave you a bigger piece just in case there was something else you wanted to use instead. So I'm going to actually just trim mine down to 1 inch. I think actually when I did this, I think I used a bright pink for this one, but anyway. And then I'm just going to use some dimensionals to hold this down. Okay. Like this. So then this will open like this, and it gets tucked back under like that, and then your inside open. So it actually can stand like an easel card as well. Okay. All right, so that's a fun one. And then I think this is our last card, and then we have our bonus project to do. Okay. Now, this one, again, I'm going to leave the creative licensing up to you, however you want to do this. This is your standard card base. You have a piece of white that is going to be the inside of your card here. And then you have all these little bits. So I've given you a piece of pretty and pink paper. Now, I'm going to leave it. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm so sorry. I forgot to tell you to do something. Fold it in half and fold this back. My apologies. And then crease. If you want to measure, it's 2 1/8. That's what you're looking for. Okay, so now I've given you a piece of designer series paper. You can use the floral side or the leaf side, or you can use this one. So when I did this originally, I used this side and I stamped the ribbon on here randomly. But for this one, I think I'm actually going to use this side because I love this paper. It's the In Color paper. It's awesome. Oh, I have glue all over me. Okay, so let's go here, 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 here. Okay, so there is that. Now, let's look at these pieces here. You have a larger pink, a larger white. You have 2 smaller pinks, 2 smaller whites. Then you have this piece here that has 1, 2, and 3 score lines. Fold on those score lines. Okay. Then what I want you to do, hang on one second. I just have to, yeah, okay. So then what I want you to do is I want you to actually place this piece inside your card. So fold it in half. I want you to lay it down. And again, I'm going to use my tear and tape for this as soon as I locate it. Okay. I'm going to fold that this way. Ooh, okay, well, that's not what I want to do, but anyway, that's okay. I'm going to put a piece of glue on this side, and then I'm going to take your pick tool, and I'm going to okay, now I'm going to place this here. I'm going to fold the front, and when I open that, it gives me a box. I don't know if you can see that. It gives me a box. Okay, now what we need to do is, let's go ahead and put our white piece on the inside. That's kind of an important part here. Now, I could probably have done a whole piece of white here, just like a standard white piece on the inside, but I think this is actually a little bit nicer. Okay, so what I want to do is, let's start with our diagonal, or our larger pieces. So what I want to do is I want to put these on a diagonal. Okay, so I want to make them a diamond shaped. So I want to place them about there. Okay, because then what's going to happen is this one here is going to go on the top. This one here is going to go on the bottom. Okay, now you do want your points, your point here and your point here. So this is as flush with the top, and it should come to the center, and then this one should be flush with the bottom into the center. Okay, to get this triangle thing. So if it's easier to do the outside first for you as opposed to the inside, then go for it. Everybody has their own preference of doing things, so I'm not gonna worry too much about that. Okay, so I'm just going to hold that there for a minute. And then when I get to this piece here, I'm going to actually just do it on here. I'm going to put that in. Sit that there. Okay, so while that's doing its thing, what I'm going to actually do is now when we go to stamp this, this is the tricky part. We want to make sure that we are stamping on a diagonal. Okay, so in a diamond shape. So this one here, I'm going to use the larger one, is going to go on the inside. I'm going to do hope on this one. Okay. The top one, need my stamp set. Oh, actually, I think I decided I was going to do something different. Anyway, doesn't matter. I actually was going to put, it's okay to not be okay. Actually, you know what? I can do that. I can do that. I'll just flip mine over. Nobody will be any the wiser. Okay, so. It's okay to not be okay. I'm going to do that on the inside. And that's a big one. Okay, so that's going to go there. So now what I want to do, I'm going to glue this down just because I want to get this part done. Oh, I think I put my glue in the wrong spot. Uh-oh. So when you go to glue, you really want to be careful where you glue because you don't want to do what I did. I actually put too much glue on my triangle. There it goes. Oh, it just oozed out. Okay, so be careful when you go to glue because mine just oozed out. And then this one, I'm going to do hope. And again, everything's on a diagonal, right? So we are all in the diamond shape right now. Hope. And then let's go over this way. And let's bring in love. So you'll notice that we used every stamp set in the set as well, which is part of the mission I had for this set. Okay, I have glue everywhere on my fingers. Okay, so I'm going to do hope. And I'm going to do love. Okay, now I have to get my glue eraser, I guess, but oh, there it goes. Glue eraser. Oh, my glue eraser has vanished. It has sprouted legs, my friends. That's fantastic. There it is. It was hiding underneath my scraper. Just want to make sure that gets unglued. No sticky glue for us, please. Oh, it's hard to get to now that I've put glue down. There it goes. There. That's what I wanted there. Okay. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you open it. So it's a triangle card, trifold card. Okay, so that is your last card. Now, what is your project, your bonus project? Your bonus project is this. I thought it would be nice to have a box that you could simply make to put these cards in. Now, you're going to fold on your score lines. Okay. Bone folder is going to be extremely important with this task. So these are 2 different sizes. Which is the top, which is the bottom? I'm going to leave that up to you. What we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to cut little flaps on all 4 corners. So make sure whichever way you're doing it, whether you're coming in this way or coming in that way, they're the consistent on all. Now, I like to actually kind of go in and miter a little bit here. And what that does is I'm just cutting like literally a sliver off. And what that does is it actually helps your box sit a little bit nicer. Okay. Oops, my flap got in the way there. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold these in, and it's going to start to create your box. Okay. Now you can use tear and tape here. You can use liquid glue. If you're going to use liquid glue, you just need to make sure that you give it time to dry. Just because you can't rush this one. Okay. Now, I'm not going to decorate my box because I want you to just go crazy with it, to be quite honest. You could die cut like something in the center, like to create a window if you wanted. That's what I've done in the past. You can just randomly stamp, which I would advise you do before you put this box together. I'm going to leave it up to you because I think you can do some pretty amazing things with this. And I don't think you need me to give you any of those ideas because I know you're all very super talented. So just use your creative license and create what you'd like with it. You might have something there that you want to use, like some flowers from, you know, a different company or something that you want to kind of add in or what have you. So, oh, this one's not going to come off. There we go. Okay, so there's that one. And then we'll do the same thing with this one. I have glue everywhere. So we're folding. And we're folding. And we're folding. And we're folding. Okay. And then we're trimming miter just a little bit out of that. Okay, my scissor charm is getting in the way, but and then let's just put that down. Again, I don't think you need me to show you how to do this, but I think the most amazing part about this is that you get to decorate it yourself and just have complete creative license, right? So these boxes are super simple to create, and I will give you the measurements for that in your tutorial. Oh, actually, this one doesn't have a tutorial, I don't think, does it? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, we'll see. If you want the measurements, let me know. You can have the measurements. Not hard. Okay, so then there's your box of 2 pieces together, and then you're just going to tuck these in. Oh, hang on, I'm bouncing around. There you go. And like you could put a belly band around that. You could do, like I said, cut like a window out of here. You could do a lot of things. Okay, so I'm going to leave that up to you. This would be a great little gift for somebody. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know, and we'll chat very soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.